Hey guys, Josh Culler here, the host of the Good Success Podcast. Hey, I'm just dropping in here to let you know that we are giving a free book away. Yes, a free book called Active Turnkey, The Best Way to Buy Rentals by Tom Olson himself, the president of Good Success. Yes, I did say we are giving it away for free. All you got to do is go to goodsuccess.com/ATKbook. Again, that's goodsuccess.com/ATKbook. as an active turnkey. And we're going to cover the book. So we're going to actually pay for the book and give it to you for free. We're just asking you to cover shipping costs, which is very minimal compared to the value that you're going to be getting in the book. So if you are interested in learning how to create financial freedom with real estate, go get your copy now. Again, that is goodsuccess.com/ATKbook. Thank you for listening to the Good Success Podcast, and I hope you enjoy this episode. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Good Success Podcast. I am your host, Josh Culler, and today we got a little bit of a different setup. We got one camera here, so me and Nick are going to just kind of converse here and just talk to each other during this. And we have a little bit of a different type of podcast for you today. We got Nick Kutschke here. Nick, it's been a minute, dude. We were just talking about this before.
Yes, it's been a little while.
So if you guys don't know, we actually had Nick on our podcast, episode 43. He was doing a book review called People by You. That's the name of the book, and we did a review with him. So if you guys want to go listen to that, go back episode number 43. Yeah. But Nick is, I'm going to call him an expert in health and fitness.
Appreciate it, Josh.
So if you just go on his Facebook page, you'll see it, I promise. But Nick is very knowledgeable when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to exercising, and really getting a workout schedule or whatever for you specifically. I'm not going to try to upsell your services into, because I don't think you're doing that anymore. You're just more along the lines of you're knowledgeable about it. You've had a pass with it. And I'm going to have Nick talk about that. Nick was actually a personal trainer of mine last year. He helped me get my health right back on track because I had gained 50 pounds since high school. I've only been out of high school for 6 years at that point. And so it was a disgrace. But Nick really helped me get my life back on track. And I think it's extremely important to address this because we talk about good success and how, good success really means the type of success you have, but how are you going to get there if you're not taking care of yourself? And that's why I really wanted to bring Nick on the show today to talk about this because again, this is something that is not addressed very often. We have a couple of guys that are in our mastermind that they talk about this, that they're not healthy, they want to lose weight or they want to have a healthier diet, and the bottom line is that if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to perform at the levels, the best levels for you. So we're going to get back into it, but Nick is actually a part of Bangor Realty.
Correct.
So he has had, and before that, he has had a lot of real estate investing experience. So real estate is nothing new to Nick. So we're still along the same industry here. So but before we get into it, I'm going to have Nick come back and introduce himself. I got a couple things to talk about. The first thing is the Good Success Mastermind. Kevin's going to be on the links below, so you guys check out the links when we talk about anything that we're saying is going to be linked below. So we have the Good Success Mastermind. The next event is November 8, 9, and 10. That is in Miami, Florida, and that's stacking up to be a really good event. We have a lot of new attendees that are going to be joining there, and a lot of great activities going to be happening. So we're very excited about that. You can go to goodsuccess.com/mastermind to learn more about the mastermind, how our community can help you with your issues, opportunities, and all that stuff, and build your network exponentially. So goodsuccess.com/mastermind. Next is, so we made this announcement last week. Tom Olson wrote a book. So Active Turnkey, it's a book. It's a book. Active Turnkey, the best way to buy rentals. And we are giving this away for free. Yes, for free. So I got a package here because this is going to be going out today, and I've got another stack over there, and I still got to label some more. But we're shipping these out for free. So all you guys got to do is go to goodsuccess.com/ATKbook. Again, Kevin's going to have it linked below, so you can check out the link as well. But goodsuccess.com/ATKbook. You're going to pick this up for free. All we're asking you to do is cover the cost of the shipping. So we're covering the cost of the book, you cover the cost of the shipping, and we will ship this out to you ASAP. It's a lot. We've gotten a lot of orders, so I'm excited about it. The only thing that sucks is I have to pack them. So that's so I'm not saying that you guys slow down the orders. I'm just saying I have to pack them. So they get a little bit of a loving touch from me. So Yeah, there you guys go. But you guys can pick up that book at goodsuccess.com/ATKbook. And then last but not least, if you are coming by way of knowing Nick, you don't know who we are. We're Good Success. And we have the Good Success podcast that we go bi-weekly now. We used to go once a week, but now it's bi-weekly. We're starting to ramp up a lot more podcasts. You guys can check us out on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. And you guys can listen to the podcast there. We put out a lot of great content, so we're excited about that. And we get interviews on here from real estate professionals, real estate investors, and then centered around just your life in general. So just like the health podcast that we're about to do right now. So without further ado, Nick, this is going to be a really good podcast. I'm excited about this.
I am too. This is
when I was putting together the questions, I was like, man, I really got to ask thought-provoking questions. They
were good.
Some of these might slap some people in the face.
I might hurt some feelings.
So
I might.
So you guys just bear.
I do have that personality style, just a little bit.
So just bear with us here, and that's okay because you need it. I need it. Everybody needs it at some point in their life. So I'm actually going to adjust the camera real quick because Nick is out of the frame. So you guys just hang tight here. We need to get the main event in there. All right. So. Sorry, Kevin's on the links, but he's busy with that. So, Nick, do us a good favor. Open up a podcast.
Yeah.
Who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe even give your background in real estate.
Okay.
Just so people can relate to that too.
Not a problem. Yeah. Nick Kutschke. Been trying to help the right people get what they want in life, and I've been able to do that through a couple of avenues now. The first one was actually health and wellness, a fitness enthusiast, consultant. Now I just want to give back in regards to the knowledge that I've obtained over the last decade now. It's been a long time. Now I can do that through that, and I can also do it now through real estate as well. Over the last almost 5 years now, I've worked with Good Success, Tom Olson, a few other local investors that have been gracious enough to invest their time and their money and their effort into me, and now I want to be able to give that back in ways of working with the public and investors through commercial real estate and public real estate. So
awesome.
That's where I've come from.
Okay, so then talk about your past with how you've even acquired the knowledge that we're about to talk about, because I'd like to give you a little bit of grounds and foundation with the audience. So.
Yeah, my past, it all started when I was just a youngster. I think that's where most of our habits come from is when we are young, and there's changes we don't know how, but we end up becoming resourceful and make those changes happen. Well, the change that I wanted to make happen, you see, back when I started playing like pee-wee football, right? That's where it all started. I had to play, I think it was up 2 levels because I was too large.
You're too big.
I was too big.
Oh
I was too big. I weighed like 175 pounds in like 6th grade.
Wow.
And well, in 6th grade, you don't hit a growth spurt yet.
Yeah.
And some of the other parents, they get a little conscious of like, is this kid gonna hurt?
Yeah.
Kid.
Yeah.
So they had to move me up, and I understandable, but the self-confidence, the self-esteem that was invoked in me, it doesn't work well, and that prompted a whole different path. Right down. I was going left and sway, boom, and now I'm looking at working out, lifting weights, being more active, running, jumping, all those things that a normal youngster should be doing. Well, now it's becoming a necessity rather than a want, and that's kind of where it started. That's where it prompted. Moving up through the years, I got into high school, and well, now you want to be noticed by the opposite sex.
Yeah,
like it's normal.
Yeah.
Like, well, now I've got to work out, show the guns off. It's you got to get noticed.
Right.
It's your marketing, personal marketing.
Right.
And I still had that little guy syndrome back in the day. Like, I'm still out of shape. So I was like, well, how can I make this work? Well, you got to be in the right place for a long enough time for things to happen. So if you go and look who's in shape, who's not in shape, well, you got to be around those people, right? You've got to go to, in a sense, the gym. There's outdoor activities, hiking, things like that. Well, as long as you're around those people, you're gonna catch on. And I found a local gym that was willing enough to take me in and tutor me for it was 6 months. 6 months of driving back and forth, and not from where I live to Maryville, Indiana, but actually I took a longer trip down to Purdue, West Lafayette, and I even did some training down there and driving back and forth every other weekend, just to get a different mindset. How it was taught to me, it was a paradigm shift of going from who you are now to where you want to be. And for me, it was in health and wellness. I'm like, that's what I want to do. That's where I want to be. This is how it's going to work. And it was a friend of mine, Mark Banter. He was a great mentor in regards to health and wellness. If you guys are going to prosper in any area of life, get a mentor. I know Josh, he's a big promoter of that, proclaims that. I think in all of good success mastermind, we all
definitely
have that circle of influence. Someone's mentoring, someone's giving back. Find that person in that area of your life that you want to grow in. And health and wellness was that one for me back. Wow, that was again 10, 15 years ago. Excuse me. Yeah. That's where that was. That's how it got started. That's it grew.
Yeah.
It grew.
That's a really good truth too. The getting around people that you want to be like. I mean, we talk about that all the time on the podcast about the power of your network, and you're the average of the 5 people that you associate with the most, really, and that stuff. So definitely, if you're around people that all they want to do is eat junk food and drink soda and lounge around, not do anything, then that's primarily what you're going to do. It talks about in the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy about that. So let's go ahead and get into some questions here. Some really good questions I got for you. I'm excited to get some answers. So why is it important as an entrepreneur to keep up with your health? It's very apparent to me, just being around even guys in our mastermind. We go to all these events and stuff like that. And this is one of the biggest things personally that they struggle with, next to like family matters and marriages, kids, like that kind of struggle. Health is definitely at the top of that issue list. So why is it so important? First of all, like, why is it so difficult for entrepreneurs to take care of their health? And then why is it so important to do that?
Typically what I've found over my working with thousands of people in regards to health and wellness is they don't see it being an issue until it's an actual issue.
Yeah. Okay.
And they'll procrastinate.
Imagine that.
If it was easy, everyone would do it in regards to that.
Yeah.
But if you don't take that initiative, if it's not a habit set in the beginning, now it's not necessarily as important. And when it becomes important, normally it is too late, like I said.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. I get it. There's families. There's things that people take priority in, the things they have to do, the loved ones that they care about, friends, family, going out to eat. All those things are important. I don't want to take any of the importance away from those things. But for those things to happen, the number one asset for it to work, for you to be around, is you. If you do not take care of you, number one, no one else can benefit. It's that. That's powerful. It's that simple.
Yeah, because if you have a purpose, in life, something that you're trying to achieve. Okay, so like for instance, Tom, we're trying to flip the entire city of Gary, and we're making like strides in that. But if Tom doesn't take care of himself, it's going to be so much more. Yeah, it's going to be so much more difficult. Same thing for anybody else that's involved. For myself, I'm involved in that pretty heavily, and so if I don't take care of myself, I do all the operations. I host the podcast. Right. If I'm like lethargic while I'm hosting the podcast, or even worse, something simple like that,
right? Or worse, or you let your health decline so much that now you've stimulated yourself into regards to being tied to maybe a hospital bed. If you let it go that far,
right?
Or you're going to be on medications, or there's doctor's visits that are taking away.
You say that. Okay, so for instance, a couple weeks ago, I came down with a cold. I was out for like 3 days, and it butchered my productivity in good success, and it was terrible. And that was because I didn't take care of I wasn't proactive about taking care of my health. I wasn't doing vitamins. I wasn't doing, whatever I needed to do to take care of my illness. I felt the sore throat. I started sneezing. I didn't do anything about it. Woke up the next morning, like barely able to move. And so I wasn't able to produce at that point.
In regards to production, let's take a professional athlete, because a lot of the guys that we're on stage with, that we're communicating with, these are professional investors.
Right.
Let's take that spectrum, put it on professional athletes. If professional athletes were to treat their bodies the same way that, in a sense, an investor would, they're not going to perform. They're not going to get the yardage. They're not going to get the touchdowns. They're not going to get all of those things that proclaim them as good athletes if they're not healthy. Yeah. I want that same perspective for our investors, because they can do so much more. You can give back more. You can invest more. You can grow so much more when you're healthy in regards to when you're not. That's how I see it. That's treat it just the same. Right. So then what's a good place for somebody to start? So if an entrepreneur, because I hear this all the time, especially when we're going through somebody's issues during the mastermind or whatever, and we say, hey, you need to be in the gym like X amount of times per day, or X amount of days, and then the length, half an hour or whatever that you're in the gym, or even just start eating healthier. And we have a lot of guys that travel a lot, and in these circles that we're in, and I can see that there's a lot of traveling that goes down. So if somebody were to say, Nick, I don't have the time, I don't have the resources to be able to work out or to exercise or to eat healthy while I'm on the road or whatever, let's start with the exercising, because I think that's like kind of segues into the actual eating, like the healthier eating. So somebody tells you that, what's your initial response? You're a liar. You're lying. You're a liar. Literally, you're a liar. Yep. That's exactly how I see it. Yeah. Anyone can do anything in this life. We've got the internet. We've got people around you that if you don't know the answers, you've got Google. If Google doesn't know the answers, someone around you has that answer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In regards to the exercise, making time for it, there's no excuse. People make time for what's priority for them. And I understand there's top 5 priority. I get it. But make you one of those top 5 priority. And when you do those things, you take the time to go work out. You take the time to go eat. You take the time to go in zen or be mindful and give back to yourself in that regard. You have to. You have to. In regards to the food, that's a whole different ball game. That's another ball game. But the thing is, it's the same premise as you're just lying, maybe to yourself or everyone around you, but the truth is there's plenty of resources, you're just not being resourceful enough. There's meal planning, which is, you can do it at home. I love meal planning. Meal plan. It's so awesome. Take a weekend, take Saturday or Sunday, plan it out. Sunday night, yep. Get it done. Another thing is, there's so many companies out here, and there's a lot of investors on the go. I get that. Yeah. Get those meals on the go with you. You can order meals, have them show up to you at your home or wherever you're going to be. There's local companies all over America, all over the world that, hey, I need meals. I want healthy meals, like Freshly, for instance. Yeah, great, delicious home-cooked meals sent to you. There's also Instacart. There's so many companies that can get you food. Just, you need to make it your priority. How much a priority is it to you? So what's your favorite quote? You say a quote.
Pause right there.
Good.
All right. So what's your favorite quote?
Okay. So what's your favorite quote? The about preparation. You tell me this all the time.
My favorite quote is, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Mm-hmm. With everything in life, if you fail to prepare for your job, for your, in a sense, significant other, for anything that you care about, it's going to do well once you prepare for it. Mm-hmm. But if you do lack thereof, and now you're in a reactive state, you're letting life happen to you rather than for you. it gets tough.
That's a big one. Letting life happen to you instead of for you. And I think that begins with health.
It does.
Because if your body, like I even said, a simple cold, because I didn't take care of my body, put me out of commission for 3 days. And I'm like, man, that's not good because I can't afford to miss 3 days of work. Like, that's just how it is, you know? Yeah, I love that. Preparation is huge too. I'm so big on that. Absolutely.
Correct.
Because I know that for me, when before I even, and it's one of the reasons why I even talked to you about becoming my personal trainer a year ago. One of the biggest things for me was I just wasn't making time for it. I'm sure you remember this in our initial conversation. I'm like, Nick, I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to do my meal prep. Listen, I am far more busy than I was a year ago.
Yes.
Because Good Success is growing big now. I even have, you know, a lot of other things that are going on too. And I'm far more busy, but I found that because I made it a priority, it's getting done. And it's actually, so one little thing that I do that Nick's very proud of me for is, so working out in the morning, that's what I do. Like I don't go to the gym anymore. I have a treadmill. I have free weights and everything. I even heard people tell me that it's difficult to do that at home. I find it a lot more easy to do it because I don't have to make the 20-minute trip to the gym and 20-minute trip back to the gym.
Everyone's going to justify it whatever side of the field
okay.
you're playing.
so I'm good. Okay. But I do that in the morning. Yeah. You know, after I eat breakfast, I sit down and meditate. That allows my food to digest, and then I go do my little exercising. I'm not, and Nick knows, I'm not into like trying to bulk up and, you know, do extreme stuff. I'm not looking to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours in the gym, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I am getting my workouts done. I'm kicking butt while I'm doing it. And then Sunday nights is all meal prep. So for 3 hours, I do meal prep, breakfast and lunch. And it's for the entire week up to the next Sunday. So, well, I should say Saturday because Sundays we eat breakfast and lunch at my church. And so that preparation is huge when it comes to eating healthy because I find if I don't prep, I'm eating whatever is in eyesight.
Correct.
It doesn't matter reactive. What it is. Reactive.
Whatever's around you, it's almost like a bomb that just explodes, and you're just trying to touch everything around you.
Yeah.
Just let me have it. But if you've got everything that you've set in place for your success around you, well, then you're gonna.
And you know what I think is funny is because a lot of entrepreneurs, they're so focused on operations and making sure that things get done correctly. A lot of our listeners are probably rehabbers, and so they prep for all of that. And Tom even has a talk about prep, PREP, and we focus on that, the business.
Correct.
But then we don't do anything for ourselves, for our bodies, for our health. Like, why is that so overlooked with people? Is it because they're not preparing, or is it because they don't care, or they don't have time? Or I know we've even established already that you do have the time. That you're a liar.
Everyone.
So
Yeah, correct.
if you have that thought in mind, then you're a liar. But why are people so not focused on their health?
A lot of times, what I've found is that it's fear, unfortunately, that drives people to do the things that they do. If it's lack of money, if it's lack of love life, if it's lack of resources, people are going to go do certain things a certain way because they have a lack of. Now, when you have a lack of health, the only way you can catch up is by exercising, or worse, you have to go to the doctor, or things of that nature. You have to, now you've got to catch up.
Yeah.
Like when you were sick, now you've got to stop.
Yeah. Catch up those 3 days.
Get medication. Go spend extra money that you necessarily didn't have to or didn't want to. You could have spent somewhere else that could propel you forward in life. I understand people are getting sick and things like that, but you should prepare for those things.
Right.
But for going back to that actual, why is it so hard? Is because we don't see it an issue until it's an actual issue. After that, after you realize,
but once you get there, it's almost like now it's even more difficult to get back to where you want to go.
It's the habits. Through life you've gotten habits all along until now. It just we've all got. There's no good habit. There's no bad habit. We just have habits. In regards to food, we've we've naturally gravitated towards I want to get what's easy, what's right in front of me, what's right now. Well, anything that comes easy is hard later. What's hard now is easy later. If you develop those habits of in the morning, instead of grabbing a donut, well, substitute it. Grab an apple with it, and then you can literally just substitute things out. With the coffee, you got the cream and the sugar, all those things. Hey, that's fine. Start substituting some things out. Maybe a stevia, or maybe just a water instead. Maybe a hot tea, and start changing those habits around. It's those little things that you start involving and start just move the pieces. You're still playing the game, but now you're just moving the pieces just a little bit differently.
Right. So then along that same line, what are some things that people can start doing like right now? As soon as they're done listening to the podcast, because we don't want them to click off the podcast right now. As soon as they're done listening to the podcast, what are some things that people, you talked about food, so
Correct.
Let's talk about exercising then. What are some things
Okay.
that people can do to be proactive right now to actually get into exercising? And I'm sure people are
Correct.
they're listening, they're like, Nick, don't tell me to go to the gym right now for an hour because I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
So what would you
That'll
say?
hurt. That'll definitely hurt.
So what would you say?
The first thing I would say is to take inventory, be self-aware of where you are at right now. If you've never run in your life before ever, don't go run a marathon. If you've never lifted a weight, don't get under a bench. Understand where you're at and then go from there. If you need to, I like to live 1% better every day. Just one thing better every day. If it's getting up and walking 10 minutes just on a treadmill, awesome. The next time you do it, maybe do 10 minutes and 30 seconds. And as long as you continually do that day in and day out and understand that to make progress, you've got to move, do those things. That's the first thing. It's just understanding where you're at and then take one step forward. For some people, that one step is going to the gym. That one step is just waking up earlier or preparing a meal or just being conscious that health is a priority.
Right.
As long as you understand its involvement in every area of your life. That's where I would necessarily start. Another big one. Say you're a little bit farther along. Let's count calories. Well, Nick, that's going to take time. That's going to take effort. That's going to take money. Well, you take the time to count your money. What about taking time to count your health?
You know what's funny is that okay, so hold that thought because
Okay.
I'm going to compliment you with
Yes.
this. So one quote that I heard, I don't even remember where I heard it from, is pay for your, okay, so you talk about money, it's going to be expensive. Pay for healthy foods now or pay for your medical bills later.
Correct. Tenfold, yes. Yes.
Tenfold, yes, because if you don't take care of your body now, you're going to get repercussions later on.
Correct.
I mean, sooner, like you're going to start feeling it. If you eat a donut right now, you're going to feel it in about half an hour.
Correct.
But later on down the road, 10, 15, 20 years from now, you're going to be hit with medical bills because you're unhealthy.
It was when I was working in the gym that it was very sales driven, and one of our main drivers was, our main quotes is, "I'm glad I did," or "I wish I had."
Yeah.
Now you can take this podcast, you can take all the information that we just gave you, and you can go down either direction. I'm glad I listened, or I wish I had. Now it's just up to you which side of the spectrum you want to be on.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was one of my biggest takebacks.
That's a heavy
Glad I
hitter.
did or wish I had.
We're probably going to create a short podcast out of that or a quote for you. So be on the lookout for that one. That was good. Okay, so coming down the stretch here, we got just a couple more quick questions for you.
Yeah, of course.
This has been a really good podcast. A lot of information that's
Good.
been thrown at everybody.
Good.
I want to encourage people to make sure, and I know that you're looking at me, you're like, Josh, you're 25. You can handle this. So, because I get that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
you know what? The amount of the busyness of my life is, and I'm not trying to say, I have an excuse, because I had excuses when I was less busy.
Correct.
And since I made it a priority, just the fact that I gained 50 pounds straight out of high school within like 5.5, 6 years is absolutely ridiculous. And I really got back on track, and I even noticed myself. And I think you remember that when me and Nick sat across from each other in offices in a previous life, and around 3 o'clock, 2:30 or 3, I would experience a crash every single day. Every single day, I would be on my computer doing this, just dozing off. And it was because I found as soon as I started working out, as soon as I started eating healthier, that's when I stopped. The crashes stopped. It was incredible. And what I even noticed is that I was sleeping more during that time than I am now. Back then, I was sleeping anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a night. So I'd go to bed at like 9 o'clock, which is crazy. And then I'd wake up, 15 minutes before I got to go to work, throw the clothes on. And I would be still exhausted. And now I'm very habit driven and very routine, like some morning and night routines. But it's anywhere from 7 to 7.5 hours of sleep is what I require now, which is less than what I was getting. But now I'm eating healthier. Now I'm working out more and exercising. And I'm not doing like crazy workouts where I'm bulking up and getting ready for a show or whatever. But I don't get those crashes anymore. Like zero. Like I'm driven the entire day. Like I'm going to a conference later on tonight, and I'm gonna be out till probably 9:30 or 10 networking. Yeah. And I'm gonna be like driven the entire time that I'm there. I'm gonna be on a flight. But I'll be okay. It's because I'm taking care of my health though. Correct. So one question I want to slip in here is for somebody, and I have a rebuttal for this too. So somebody that's a little older than what I am or what you are, says, Nick, I'm 45, 50 years old. I'm a little brittle. I can't really work out that much. I can't lift weights and that kind of thing. I mean, he already kind of gave you an answer, but what would you say to somebody like that? And in regards to that, I actually we have a mastermind member who's in his late 80s, Quincy Long, with Quest IRA. Cool. He has Parkinson's. And is one of his primary goals from last quarter was to work out for 30 minutes a day.
just the fact that he has the goal,
and he is one of the wealthiest people in our mastermind, and has the biggest business by far in our mastermind, and he's still able to do that. So what would you say to somebody that is maybe later on in their years and is wanting to take care of their health more? Where would they start?
Well, the first part is just to have the goal, like Quincy does. Yeah, you work out 30 minutes a day. Sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes it's just getting up out of a chair. Sometimes it's just getting rid of those bad habits. Maybe it's like smoking or things. Just quitting those things, quitting those bad habits that can directly and indirectly affect the longevity of your life. If say now we're taking exercise for instance, say they need to go to a gym, or maybe that's not effective. You can walk through your house. You can get up, stand up, go gardening. All those things that you've the honey-do list. Right. Go do those things, and not stop. Go through it. Take the time to go do those things and understand how you're feeling. Understand the muscles that hurt. Like, oh wow, that's a feeling I haven't felt in a while. Understand it. If it does, I'm not saying to wimp out, but sometimes we need to persevere through those things. For every level, there's another level.
Well, like you said, it's self-awareness, though. Right, yeah, you got to be self-aware of where you're at, and if you're 70 years old and you've got a knee replacement, and like you're not gonna go hella skiing, right? So it's like you got to be self-aware about it. Yeah, absolutely. And I think because the compound effect is definitely a huge factor in the statement compound effect, but obviously the book talks about this a lot. Yeah. Where you like you said, you start from number 1, and then you go, and then every day you say 1% better. That compounds over time. 100 days is 100% better than you were 100 days ago. Literally, that's awesome. I love that. That's fantastic. So Nick, we're gonna wrap this up. I slipped that one question in there real quick because it kind of just came to my mind, and I'm like, man, I realize I'm 25. You're 30.
30. I literally just turned 30.
Yeah. Happy birthday, belated birthday. I know I wish you a
Thank
birthday,
you.
but it's okay. But we look at us, so we're a little bit younger than some people, most people that are listening to our podcast, and they're like, "Hey, you guys are young. You could do that." But I wanted to address that.
Well, there's a second spectrum, the other side. You could make it all about you, in regards to investing in yourself. But what about the other people that are around you? Do you want to be able to touch their lives, be in their lives longer? Or do you not want to be?
Interesting.
Do you love yourself, or do you love them enough to invest in yourself? Do you? Like, I don't know what kind of price or value you put on, in a sense, say your recent fiance. What kind of value do you want to add to them? What kind of value do you want to add to your circle of influence? What kind of value do you want to add to, in a sense, the people that we meet on a regular basis? Do you care enough to take care of yourself for them, yourself, or those we haven't met yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think that the statement's true that in order to take care of other people, you have to take care of yourself
first? You can't pour from an empty cup.
That's good.
You really can't pour from an empty cup.
Fantastic. So, a couple quick questions.
Yes.
Second to last question. We ask everybody this. I love hearing the answers because
Cool.
every single answer is always different from a different perspective. So, wrapping this up, if you guys are joining us Facebook Live, we appreciate you joining us live. And if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you subscribe to us and give this thumbs up. Leave comments below. Share it around. So good success means a lot to us. So, the entire Good Success team.
Of course.
We have our own thoughts and opinions about it. Episode 100 was all about, we had the entire team in here and we talked about what good success means to us. So from your perspective, you've been around it a little bit and you understand what we're shooting for. But from your perspective specifically, what does good success, the phrase, actually mean to you?
Good success. Now, I knew that question was coming up. So I've actually got two answers.
Let's do it.
I've got two answers for that. The first one is I see it collectively as a group of extraordinary individuals that through real estate, they invest in the prosperity of their niche, of their neighborhood, and in their nation.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's literally how I see, because you guys are touching not only just people in this town, this city, then there's Gary, Indiana, which is going to be an extraordinary, in a sense, conduit to everyone around.
Yeah.
And then there's also the masterminds that are people that are placed all over the country. And then all those people are touching other people in the country and the nation. So it's definitely a worldwide touch.
Yeah.
That's where I see it in regards to the group. In regards to good success, though, it's understanding that your work is gonna get you so far. There was a long time ago. There's a friend of mine, John Carlo. He says you're gonna do well because you work hard, but you can do 10 times better if you bring God along the way. And that stuck with me so much. He actually he told me, he's like, if you've ever noticed when I'm walking, I'll literally grab behind me, because he's grabbing for the hand of God to walk with him as he goes down his purpose. And for me, I'm like, wow, how to have that kind of relationship, to move forward in that perspective. It's another level.
It is, yeah, totally.
In the quote that he gave me, is like, you can work like it depends on you and pray like it depends on God. And that stuck with me. And for me, taking him, understanding that he is there, that you're going to be developing, understanding, recognizing, and developing that relationship with him in your purpose. That's what I see good success as.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I love it. See, that's why I like asking the questions, because nobody's even said anything like that. So that's awesome. So then last thing that we got here, and then we're going to let you go, Nick. It's been an awesome podcast. Appreciate you being on the show today.
Oh, of course.
We missed you, and we're going to have you back soon eventually.
Maybe 80 episodes sooner. It'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. We'll work on it. We'll make sure we do it.
Love you guys.
So last thing that we got here, want to leave the audience with one thing, whether it's a quote, a statement, a thought. Okay. No matter what it is, just one thing you got to leave the audience with. What would that be?
One of my greatest feats in life is to help people become healthy, wealthy, and wise. From today, I want you to take all of this knowledge to be wise and invest your wealth in your health. That's literally it. Now at the end of this podcast, you've got typically two things you can do, because failure is not an option. You can act or you can ask. You can some of our listeners, some of our viewers, they know all of these things that we've gone. They just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So you can
absolutely.
you can literally go and act now. Like, let this be a prompt for you to go back to the gym, back to eating healthier, to going back to investing in number one, you. Go do those things. Or if you don't know, ask. Feel free. Email me, nick@bangareality.com. If you have any questions, reach out to myself, reach out to Josh. We are all connected. Act or ask. Just don't do anything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's literally it.
That's awesome. One of the quotes that we actually posted on our social media the other day was we had Jeff Johnson on here from Charlotte, North Carolina. This was episode 90 something, I believe. I think it was 95. And he even mentioned, he talked about networking and how when he first got into it, he was a little scared talking to people. But then he said, one of the pieces of advice that he gave was, don't be afraid to tell people you don't know what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, health and fitness can be that area where people
scary.
Like, I don't have a clue what I'm supposed to eat. Like, I don't know the ingredients in this thing. I don't know what exercises I'm going to be able to do to actually make myself better. Reach out to Nick. He just gave his email address. We'll actually link that below for you so that you guys can reach out to him. But
reach out.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, Nick. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for listening to this Good Success podcast episode. Make sure to subscribe to us. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Anchor, or Spotify, any one of those platforms, however you like to listen to your podcast. Make sure you subscribe. And just a quick reminder to go pick up your free copy of the Active Turnkey book. It's absolutely free. Just cover the shipping costs and we'll pay for the book. Just head over to goodsuccess.com/ATK book. Again, that's goodsuccess.com/ATK book. And you can pick up the book there. So make sure you go do that. Thank you for listening. And remember to be a conduit, not a bucket.